Hello friends, I'm Jennifer Seger and welcome back to the Seger Stories. So Christmas is my favorite time of year, by far and above my favorite time of year. And I've been seeing a lot of posts on social media over the last few weeks talking about Christmas in July. And I know we're already into August, but it did inspire me to create this video. I wanted to take a few minutes and share some tips, some things that I do throughout the year to get ready for Christmas. Now, this video isn't going to be for everybody. There are some people that do not want to think about Christmas until December 1st, and good on you. You do you, that is great. For me, having a plan soothes me. I enjoy planning and preparing for an event or a vacation or a holiday just as much as I enjoy the actual holiday. So that's just how I am. And if you want to hear some of how I do that, just keep watching. But before we get started, I want to ask that you click that subscribe button below. You don't want to miss a lot of Christmas-like videos that will be coming to my channel closer to the holiday. Also, if you do like this video, go ahead and click that thumbs up button. And with that, let's get started and talk about Christmas. All right, let's get started with our first tip, which is set a budget. Now, this doesn't sound very fun, but your future self will thank you. And there are a lot of things to think about. Do you send out Christmas cards? Are there extra holiday parties that you will be either hosting or attending, or a potluck, things that go on you need to bring stuff to? Are there travel plans involved? Are there charitable contributions that you regularly give and want to make sure you have the funds for? What about baking, decorating, crafting? All of that stuff does add up. Are there new clothes that you need to buy your family for Christmas? Because fun fact, I had gotten this book called Keeping Christmas, which is all about Norwegian traditions, and it talks about a Norwegian tradition of the family having fresh new clothing for Christmas Eve, and I thought that's where it comes from. That's so ingrained in me. I need a Christmas dress. I need to budget that throughout the year. So the bottom line here is to just start by brainstorming. Start with everything you can think of. Maybe even look towards your bank statements last year. See maybe if you can find where some of that money went. Get an idea of what you spent for Christmas, and then you're going to bundle all that up, take that number and divide it by 12 if you're starting early in the year, but even if you're starting now, we've got a good 16 weeks till we get to December 1st. So if you're putting aside $25 a week, or even a little less, but $25 will get $400 in your pocket by December 1st. And Christmas is expensive, and there are so many ways to save money, and there's so many ways to spend money. So it's all about what's right for you and your family. But that's what we do. We pull together what we think that we will need, kind of have honed in that number over the last few years of being married. I definitely had that number down when I was single, and then just divide it by 12, and that's the amount of money that we set aside. We actually divide it by 11 and set that aside throughout the year. So January through November, we're stocking aside a little bit extra so we don't get crazy sticker shock when we get to December. Also, in terms of budgeting, I do pad my grocery budget. I have a weekly grocery budget that I have, again, January through probably mid-November, and that's a static number. It doesn't change for us. But come November, I pad it a little bit for Thanksgiving dinner, treats, different potlucks, baking that I want to do. All of that stuff adds up. Chocolate chips and the cream cheese and the butter and all the things that we don't normally keep on hand. But they do add up because I like to bake and share those baked goods, maybe do some potlucks, hosting, entertaining, all of that stuff. So I just want to make sure that I have that all in my budget. And even if I plan for it kind of in the general number of budgets, I always find that my grocery bill is just a little bit higher this time of year, and I want to plan for that so it doesn't hurt my wallet when we get to that point. Okay, my next tip, and this relates somewhat to budgeting, but it's spread your costs out throughout the year. You can be keeping an eye on things throughout the year. One thing I like to do is I buy my stamps early. I actually put buying stamps for Christmas in my budget in July, which paid off huge last year because due to COVID, there were delays in getting stamps and people weren't getting Christmas cards. I love to exchange holiday cards with people, and I love that I already had my stamps purchased and socked away in a drawer. I didn't need to worry about it at all. The other thing to keep in mind is that with the forever stamps, you pay the cost that they are and then they're good forever, even if there is an increase to stamps. So you could even save yourself some money depending on what that increase is, or if an increase does go into effect, by just having those early, and then you don't need to stress about getting them in time to get those cards out. Another way to spread out your costs, especially if you want to do it in the months leading up to Christmas, is to buy some of your baking ingredients early. Did you know that butter freezes? It freezes really, really well. So if you have some extra room during a week in your grocery budget, throw an extra butter in there. I mean, Spritz cookies alone, I feel like it uses a pound of butter, and I do a lot of baking, so my mind's on the more expensive ingredients and how I can spread that cost out or get them cheap. I mean, look for things on sale throughout the year. If there's, you know, a big sale coming up, like a buy one, get one we have at one of our grocery stores sometimes, I mean, pick up an extra bag of sugar, bag of flour. Those things are going to last. Butter freezes. Whipping cream will freeze for 1 to 2 months, so you don't want to buy that too early. And then I've never tried freezing cream cheese, but that's another one that I will wait to catch it on like a buy one, get one sale or significant savings, because the expiration date is usually pushed out pretty late on like something like a cream cheese, so that keeps in my fridge really long. And I feel like all I'm talking about in preparing for Christmas is buying food, but that's just how we do. I buy a lot of baking and ingredients and things like that. It's just how I like to celebrate the holidays. So yeah, a lot of this is about how to get those baked goods early. And speaking of food, candy for gingerbread houses. I absolutely love baking gingerbread houses. We started what I hope will be an annual tradition last year with my niece and nephew. They'd never done a gingerbread house before, so they came over for like a little slumber party, and we got all this candy together and put together gingerbread houses, and it was super, super cute. But all that candy can be really expensive, so this is another great opportunity to spread out your cost. What I did last year, and I think I will do in all future years because it was great, I added 1 to 2 little things of candy to my grocery cart every week in the months of September, October, and November. So every week I would buy, you know, a bag of Hershey Kisses. When it got closer to the season, a little bag of candy canes, some Lifesavers, Tootsie Rolls, like all of the basic candies that you need. Those can really add up. Candy is expensive. The dollar store is another really great place to hit up for cheap candy. And I mean, it doesn't really matter if it tastes good, you're just decorating with it. But buying that candy over several weeks can really save you a lot of money. This year, I've actually already started purchasing candy for gingerbread houses. Not intentionally, but last year I could not find Necco wafers, which I think make the cutest shingles for on top of a gingerbread house, and I couldn't find them anywhere. So I happened to be at this little market near the 4th, where we were staying for the 4th of July, and they had Necco wafers. So I already started my gingerbread collection, but consider doing it just so you don't have to spend all that money up front. You can buy a little bit here and there throughout the year. And on that note, you can actually purchase gifts throughout the year. Now, this one you need to be careful with because I have forgotten that I bought things, or when it got closer to Christmas, I tended to want to change my mind because I knew the person that I bought that thing, you know, in mind for a certain person. When it got closer to the time, that person really wanted something else and I wanted to buy that. So you have to be careful and be committed to giving the thing you got so you don't end up like upside down or wasting money on it, and also remembering where you put things. But this can be a great way to not only save yourself, I don't know if it's necessarily money, but I feel like it definitely saves stress throughout the year, because as I'm shopping in little boutique stores or crafts fairs or things throughout the year, and I see something and it just reminds me of somebody, I'm gonna purchase that and then bring it home and maybe tuck it away for their birthday or maybe for Christmas. I have a designated drawer that I keep those gifts in. Sometimes I'll even stick a little piece of tape or a Post-it on it reminding me who I bought that for or who I had in mind when I purchased that item. And it's just a great thing to be able to take inventory right before I start Christmas shopping, so I really know what I need to buy. I've already spent that money earlier in the year and I don't need to worry about that coming out of my Christmas budget. And don't forget to watch the clearance aisles all year long. This lovely frock that I'm wearing, I actually just purchased this in April of this year. It is, I'm not gonna stand up and model here, but it is a onesie pajamas. I had been wanting one because it always looks so fun and cozy, and I was looking them up online. They're like $80. This one I think was originally $60, maybe it was $69.99 at Kohl's, and I got it on the 80% off rack. I don't even know how cheap it was. Plus I added additional discounts. I think I paid $7 for this. So don't be afraid to dig in those clearance bins, look it up. You don't know what treasures you're going to find, and it's kind of fun to have some new things to pull out. I happen to know that this was laying on top of the bin, so I just pulled it out to film this video because it was fun and festive and super duper cheap. Okay, the next tip I have is to plan your activities. Now, I will preface this by saying that things change. You cannot plan for every little detail, and especially when you're planning early, it needs to be very adaptable. But you can start sketching out a roadmap of what you want your holiday season to look like. Nate and I each have Gmail and we use the Google Calendar, so we share back and forth on a calendar different events and things that we'd like to do. We keep an eye on different Facebook pages in our area and just know of different holiday events and celebrations, and we'll Google those and put those on the calendar, just ideas, general days that we want to go when festivals and things are open. But then we also kind of pencil in what I refer to as our Christmas bucket list, and you might have one too: ice skating or outdoor fires, sleigh rides, whatever it is for you. Put those things down on the calendar so you don't forget to do them during the holiday season. We always like to do an outdoor campfire. We like to drive around and look at lights. We did that a ton during the pandemic when the festivals and things weren't going on, but there is a Holidazzle festival in Minneapolis with outdoor movies that we'll want to be sure to go to every year. But we'll probably wait to firm it up once they have their schedule out so we go on a good movie night. But start to get ideas and just collecting things, and just think of it as a brain dump for all those fun things you'd like to make memories with over the holiday. You know, when you're gonna go cut down your tree, that type of thing. It will just be a little reminder to make sure to get out and do some fun things during the season. Also, by planning early, I like to find a day during the week that Nate and I can both take off to go shopping. And that doesn't work out every year, but if we can swing it, it is so nice to walk into a store or a mall if we're not doing all of our shopping online, which I'll admit we do quite a bit of it online these days. But if we're not, it is so nice to get out on a day where it's not a weekend and the malls and the stores aren't packed, and just kind of have a relaxing time to go through and look at things. I'm looking down here at my notes if you're wondering why I keep looking down. But don't forget to fill in events at home as well. I mentioned that bucket list. We also map out our movie nights. There are a lot of nights where we just want to be home and have good dinner by the fire. I have a movie bucket list, so I plan for that too, with everything we want to make sure and see during the holiday season. And then lastly, in the kind of planning category, obviously if you've got some travel coming up for the holidays, it's not too early to book that. Even though we drive, we are fortunate that my family is just about 5 hours away, so we drive and we don't need to deal with flying and everything for the holidays. I can imagine if we did, there's, I mean, so much to consider with airfare and sending gifts early, maybe, like all of those things. But for us, we drive, we still plan it. We still make sure to take the time off work and map out early what days we're coming so we can let my parents know, just to make sure to get that plan in place early. And then the last tip I really have for you today is to start a to-do list now. Now, you've probably guessed that because I'm a planner and I like to be prepared, I am big on lists. I use the to-do list by Microsoft. It used to be Wunderlist, but then Microsoft bought it out, but it's the same concept. You can have lists for everything, and I do. But I have a list already started for Christmas, some things that I want to do. One of the things that I've already checked off, when I ordered my stamps, I also reached out to people to get their new addresses. I keep a spreadsheet throughout the year, and I just kind of gave it a quick once over and highlighted those people that, oh, I had heard they moved or they got a new house, and then reached out to them now, just like, no rush, get back to me when you can, so people aren't bombarded with requests right around Christmas card mailing time, again, if you do exchange cards. So on the same note, if you are the one that has moved this year, it might be a good time to just let people know your new address if you do exchange cards. My family on my mom's side is huge, so we actually have a private Facebook page, and I've seen a lot of people go on and just share, hey, we've moved, here's our new address, and I so appreciate that, because then I can just snag it from there and I don't have to bother them. So however you do it, however you want to share it, just an idea that you might want to get that out there, because when you're already stressed with Christmas, the last thing you want to do is respond to all the people asking for your address. And I thought I would share a couple things that are still on my to-do list that I'll be doing in the couple months. One of them is I am going to take some of our money that we've set aside for Christmas and buy Visa gift cards. So Nate and I share a checking account, and I think a lot of people do. And I don't know if you're like us, but we're kind of, I don't know if we're snoopy, but we both keep an eye on it pretty good. So a few years ago when I bought Nate a jersey that he really wanted for his birthday, I bought it from Fanatics. And it was such a specific purchase at a specific price that absolutely he knew what he was getting. And I was disappointed because I wanted to make sure that he was surprised. So we are going to do mostly stocking stuffers for one another this year, and we're just going to purchase Visa gift cards for two reasons. One, it's going to help us stay on budget, and then two, it's completely blind, so I won't know if he went to Ulta or, you know, all the different places. I guess with stocking stuffers it's a little more generic, but I think it's a good idea just to keep us on a budget, on track, and then it adds that element of surprise when you're hiding from your loved one what you got them for Christmas. And another thing that I actually wrote on my to-do list is to get some of my baking done early, namely the gingerbread house pieces, because I was doing those the day before last year and I hated it. I just wanted to get them done, dry them out, and throw them in the freezer. So I'm just gonna, I have it on a to-do list, no real timeline, but someday when I have an afternoon, as all of us do, you know, have an afternoon this fall where I'm thinking, you know, I should really get something done. I can look to my to-do list and like, hey, this is a good day. I can get that taken care of. So I'm gonna do that and maybe even do a few baked goods. You can bake cookies ahead of time and have them in your freezer so you are just ready to go and hit the ground running. Again, I'm coming back to baking. All of my holiday preparedness seems to be around cookies, and I know it's telling. So those are just a few things that I do to get ready for Christmas all year long. I hope you found a new tip or something useful. I would love to hear what you do to get ready for Christmas. If you are a planner like me, please leave me a comment below and let me know. As always, thank you so much for watching this video. It is so good to have you here. If you did enjoy it, please click that like button below and also consider clicking that subscribe button. Like I said, we are going to have a lot of Christmas content coming to the channel in just a few months here. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.